Hello there, and welcome to Hammerman for today, February the 27th. Not a lot of February left, like one more day. So I know you're probably looking at this base and you're like, this doesn't look like Beard's normal Hammerman base. What's going on here? Well, you're incredibly astute and observant, and you're also absolutely correct. This is not my regular base layout. And the reason for that is, this is Soul's regular base layout. I guess it would be his regular? Like, I'm assuming he normally has this, not for Hammerman, but like in day-to-day business. Basically, this base, I was on the forums and I was kind of like, you know, trying to pull on some information, trying to figure out you know, what kind of statues I want to go with. I'm getting up there. I'm getting to the point where things are starting to be maxed out. So, you know, I'm looking at my resource reward thinking like, all right, that resource reward is going to go. It's going to be useless. But what am I going to replace it with? Do I want to replace it with more troop damage? Do I want to replace it with some ice, perhaps, to help crank up the intel? Because I have noticed that my defenses are woefully lacking. That's the nice way of putting it. You know, they're not generating nearly enough intel. And so I decided, hey, you know what? Alright, cool. Let's take this to the forums. Well, conveniently, Soul had put up a video covering pretty much that exact same thing. Just a base to try and generate a little bit of extra intel when you're attacked. You may not defend, but you know what? Who cares if you don't defend? 99% of the time you won't defend, because if you have a chance of defending, normally people won't bother attacking. They're going to attack someone else. They'll swap you out. Unless you're like really high up in the VP and, you know, people are pushing and have to clear everybody on their map kind of a thing. But we're not going to get into that. Anyways, the point is that base layout on stage 1, I've been playing around with it. I've been trying it just a little bit. And I gotta say, it is absolutely fantastic. It works like a charm. I'm gonna link Soul's channel down below, because he does like the daily stuff as well, just with different troop compositions and whatnot. Daily events, by daily stuff, you know. Anyways, and like, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this base. It's pretty fancy. So definitely check out his channel. Check out the video. He goes into a lot more depth about the base and like where to place things and how to place things and what to do and why and all those things. So definitely check it out. It was a great watch. It was very informative, and I learned some things. So that last stage, by the way, stage 3, obviously, Grens dropped first. Grens dropped first on stage 5 also, and this is where the anti-Gren base, which is obviously what I loaded, works so incredibly well. Just like, all of those Grens came out and just ruined, like, overkill, quite literally overkill, because there were still things shooting down there, and there were no Grens left to shoot. So this layout, I guess, is doing exactly what it's supposed to. And don't get me wrong, on stage 4 here, obviously there are a bunch of Riflemen, and they're backed up with medics, which, you know, that can make them a fairly formidable force. Wow, that was alright. Fairly formidable force. Formidable force? Oh my goodness. But you know what? Like, honestly, the second those Riflemen get up to the flamethrower there, it's all over. Like, I don't even need the prototypes. Don't get me wrong, I got the prototypes. They're hidden away. I'm trying to see, you know, how far in we can get things before having to drop the prototypes, because that's the type of crazy stuff that I do. I don't know why. Maybe because it's fun. So stage 5 coming at us with a whack of Riflemen and Zookas for the first round, which I'm not gonna lie, it scared the bejesus out of me. As you can see, though, I was just able to get rid of those Riflemen and get to the Zookas, and the Zookas just, like, with the 2 shocks, just vanished. Vaporized like crazy mojos. Once those Zookas are down, really, that's the most scary thing taken care of. And then it's a bunch of warriors that run right into a machine gun and flamethrower. So you know what happened to those warriors while, you know, rocket launchers just whacked away at them. They didn't last long. They do some damage. I'm not gonna say that they got away completely, you know, unscathed, because also there are still a bunch of medics running around. So when you've got warriors backed by medics, it's kind of funny because they heal like freaking crazy. But anyways, going through, they obviously are able to do some work on the warriors. Like once the warriors start getting into range of the boom cannons and sniper towers and stuff, the medics just there's nothing they can do, because you know all the cannons and boom cannons and stuff just one-shot them. And then same sort of thing really with the tanks, where the medics are running around keeping the tanks standing for a fairly long time. But once those tanks start rolling into range of the boom cannon and the sniper tower, they do not last long. Like, the max sniper tower really does put out a fairly good amount of damage. I'm pretty impressed. And then, of course, eventually you have the all-medic standoff, which I'm just going to fast forward through because the medic heals himself. Or, sorry, the medic heals his buddy and himself. The rocket launcher hits his buddy and him. And repeat for like 4 minutes. Okay, so stage 6 is pretty nasty. I did have to whip out the prototypes for 6, just because the hookah that gets dropped right there in wave 1 can do nasty things if left unchecked, because then like the Riflemen heavies land and they start getting in the way of the Zookas, and the Zookas just sit there at the back just dumping crazy amounts of damage onto everything, and you know, it doesn't stop. But that being said, once you have that hot pocket out, look at it. There's an entire wave of Riflemen, and it's just like, I'm gonna wave back and forth, and then everything will just die. Like, honestly, it started making me think of like Harry Potter, because I was like, oh, the hot pocket is clearly a wizard because it's doing some kind of Wingardium Levioso kind of spell, and just everything disappears. So, I don't know spells in Harry Potter nearly enough. Even though, you know, obviously the critics are already like, it's not Wingardium Levioso, it's Wingardium Leviosa. God. Wait, no, I don't know that. Anyways, is it Wingardium? It doesn't matter. The point is, 6 goes down with the damage amp, and my guess is I have a raccoon in my backyard because the dog is losing his nut. So, stage 7, awesome stage 7. It's super easy as long as you got the damage amp and the hot pocket. This is actually my first run at it, and yeah, basically the first wave is just a bunch of Riflemen that run up and get their faces melted off by the hot pocket, and then the second wave is a bunch of Zookas that run up and get their faces melted off by rocket launchers and mines. Like, my goodness, I almost felt sorry for them. Like, the first 2 waves of this level are just complete write-offs. And then we do whip out some Riflemen with medics, which would indeed be scary, except when you've got that freaking hot pocket damage amped up, it just does so much damage. Like, the medics don't stand a chance. Honestly, they don't even have time to pull this off. Like, look at them. They just get touched. It's like the hand of God after picking up a hot pepper or something. melty... I'd say a different part of God after a hot pepper, but I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, all of this equates to a nice easy win on Stage 7 with a couple prototypes. Hopefully this has been helpful, hopefully it's been entertaining, and most importantly, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day.